How many times have you caught yourself thinking, I need to change my life, only to let that thought fade away with the distractions of the day? It's easy to feel stuck, waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect plan to come along. But here's the truth. Perfection is an illusion, and waiting for it only keeps you trapped. Life is passing by, one moment at a time, whether you act or not. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. In this video, I'm going to share with you how small, deliberate actions taken today can lead to big, life-changing results. This isn't about grand gestures or overnight success. It's about the power of consistency, focus, and the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy. These principles are simple but profound, and they've helped countless people, including myself, break free from procrastination, self-doubt, and fear. I'll guide you through practical steps inspired by Stoic teachings that will help you take control of your life. You'll learn how to stop being a spectator in your own story and start becoming the author of a new chapter where you unlock the potential you've been holding back for far too long. This is your moment. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Are you ready to take that first small step toward the big changes you've always dreamed of? Let's dive in and make it happen together. 1. Stop complaining and take action. Have you ever felt like you're running in place, working hard but getting nowhere? Complaints are like that. They keep you stuck, spinning your wheels and wasting precious energy. Think about it. Every time you complain, you're not solving the problem. You're just reinforcing it. Life doesn't pause while you vent your frustrations. It keeps moving, whether you're ready or not. The truth is, complaining doesn't change your circumstances. It only deepens your frustration. As Epictetus wisely said, "Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish for them to happen as they do, and you will be fine." This isn't about giving up or settling for less. It's about shifting your focus from what you can't control to what you can. When you stop wasting energy on complaints, you free up the mental and emotional space needed to take action. Science backs this up. Studies from Stanford University show that habitual complaining rewires your brain, making negativity your default state and increasing your stress. But here's the good news. Your brain can be rewired in the opposite direction too. Every time you replace a complaint with an action, no matter how small, you're building a new habitone that leads to results instead of resentment. Take the story of Sergio Turu, better known as POF, a runner and content creator who ran 900 miles in 19 days during the blistering summer heat. His rule? No complaints. Every step he took was a step of action, not excuses. And guess what? He didn't just achieve his goal. He inspired thousands of others to push their limits. His story shows that eliminating complaints doesn't just help you succeed, it helps you inspire others to do the same. Now, let's turn the focus to you. How often do you catch yourself complaining about things like traffic, work, or not having enough time? And what do those complaints ever accomplish? Nothing. But what if, instead of complaining, you acted? Let's say you're frustrated about not having time to exercise. How many minutes do you spend scrolling through your phone in the morning? Could you spare 10 of those minutes to stretch, take a short walk, or do some simple exercises? You don't need a gym membership to start. You just need to decide. Or maybe you're overwhelmed by the mess at home. Instead of getting upset every time you see it, start small. Tackle one drawer, one shelf, or one corner each day. Throw out what's broken, donate what you don't use, and watch how clearing physical clutter helps clear your mind. And if you're feeling consumed by work and have no time for yourself, ask yourself this: what's the first thing you do when you get home? Do you collapse on the couch and scroll mindlessly, or binge watch a show you don't even care about? What if you replace that habit with something meaningful, like reading a book that inspires you, or catching up with a friend who uplifts you? Here's a challenge for you. For 1 week, every time you catch yourself complaining, write it down. Next to each complaint, jot down one small action you can take to address it. For example, if you write, "I'm always tired," add, "I'll go to bed 30 minutes earlier tonight." If you write, "I'm always running late," add, "I'll prepare my clothes and breakfast the night before." These small actions may seem insignificant, but they're incredibly powerful. They don't just solve immediate problems, they create habits that reshape your mindset over time. And here's the best part: you won't need a full week to notice the difference. You'll start feeling the shift almost immediately. So, here's the lesson. Life is too short to stay stuck in a cycle of complaints. Every complaint is an opportunity, a chance to act, to change, and to grow. The choice is yours. Will you keep spinning your wheels, or will you take that first small step toward the big changes you've been waiting for? Because in the end, the results you want are waiting on the other side of action. It's time to stop complaining and start creating the life you deserve. 2. Act immediately. How many times have you told yourself, "I'll start tomorrow"? Maybe it's a new habit you want to build, a project you've been dreaming about, or even a difficult conversation you've been avoiding. You wait, thinking the perfect time will eventually come when you feel more ready, more confident, or have fewer distractions. But let me tell you something. There's no such thing as the perfect time. Waiting for ideal conditions is just procrastination in disguise, fear wrapped up as logic. The truth is, the only way to change your life is to act, not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. Every great achievement you admire started with a single, often messy, uncertain step. The people who succeed aren't the ones who waited for the stars to align. They're the ones who took action despite the fear, the doubt, and the imperfection. Think about the wisdom in this Chinese proverb. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. It's not about waiting for the right moment, it's about creating the moment. Taking action doesn't mean you have to do something massive or perfect. It's not about overhauling your entire life in a single day. It could be as simple as writing down your goal, making a quick phone call, or spending 10 minutes researching a skill you've always wanted to learn. The key is to break the cycle of inertia. Let me share a quick story. A friend of mine wanted to start his own business, but kept putting it off, saying he'd wait until he had more money, more experience, or more time. One day, he decided to stop waiting and take one small step. He wrote down his business idea and emailed a mentor for advice. That single action sparked a chain reaction. Within a year, he was running his own company. He didn't wait for perfection, he just started. Now, let's make this personal. Think of one thing you've been putting off. Maybe it's a task, a decision, or a conversation you've been avoiding. Got it? Good. Now ask yourself, what's the smallest step I can take right now? If it's a project, maybe it's opening a blank document and typing the title. If it's a conversation, maybe it's sending a simple text to schedule a time to talk. Here's the challenge. Don't wait. Do it immediately. Why? Because action creates momentum. Once you take that first step, the next one feels easier, and before you know it, you've started moving toward your goal. Taking action doesn't just help you accomplish things, it transforms how you see yourself. You stop being someone who waits and start being someone who does. And that shift in identity is powerful. It's the difference between dreaming about change and actually living it. So, let me ask you, what's one thing you can do right now to move forward, even if it's small? Don't overthink it, just start. True change begins the moment you decide to act, and that moment can be today. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to the life you want. So, are you ready to take that first step? Because the time to act is now. 3. Take responsibility for yourself. There's a story about a man who fell into a deep pit while walking along a path. Frustrated and helpless, he began shouting for help, hoping someone would come to rescue him. But instead of focusing on how to get out, he cursed the pit, blaming whoever left it there. Then, he blamed the sun for not shining bright enough to help him see the hole. Finally, he got angry at his shoes, saying they were too worn out and caused him to slip. Hours passed, and no one came. The man sat there, sinking deeper into despair, until he realized something uncomfortable. No one was coming to save him. If he wanted to get out, he'd have to stop blaming everything around him and start climbing on his own. Does that sound familiar? Maybe you haven't fallen into a literal pit, but every time you blame others for your problems, it's like staying stuck in that hole. Feeling trapped in a job you hate. It's my boss's fault. Struggling in a relationship. They're the problem, they don't understand me. Bit by bit, this mindset hands over control of your life to everything and everyone else. And the longer you stay there, the harder it becomes to climb out. Here's the truth. Blaming others keeps you stuck, but taking responsibility sets you free. Let me be clear, this isn't about blaming yourself for everything that's gone wrong. It's about recognizing that your circumstances are shaped by your choices, and that you have the power to change them. As the philosopher Epictetus said, "Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him." Tough times don't define you, they reveal how you choose to respond. When you stop pointing fingers and start asking, "What can I do to change this?" you become the hero of your story instead of the victim. Think about it. Every great transformation begins with someone deciding to take charge of their life. So, how do you start climbing out of your own pit? First, stop looking for someone to blame. When you face a problem, don't ask, "Whose fault is this?" Instead ask, "What can I do to change this?" That small shift in mindset is powerful. It puts the control back in your hands. Next, take one action that's completely yours. If you're unhappy with your finances, write down your expenses and cut one unnecessary cost today. If you feel distant from someone important, stop waiting for them to reach out, be the one to pick up the phone. The key is to act, not wait. Finally, ask yourself, what part of your life isn't aligned with your values? Maybe you value health but haven't been taking care of your body. Start small, take a 20-minute walk or choose a healthier meal today. These small steps may seem insignificant, but they're the foundation of real change. The difference between those who move forward and those who stay stuck is simple. The ones who move forward stop waiting for someone to pull them out. They start climbing. So, let me ask you, are you going to keep making excuses, or are you going to take responsibility for your life? You don't need to fix everything overnight, but you can take one small step today. That single step, no matter how small, can change everything. Stop waiting, start acting, and take charge of your life. The climb begins now. 4. Energy optimization. You've had those days, haven't you? The ones where your to-do list feels endless work deadlines, household chores, family responsibilities all demanding your attention. But despite hours of effort, you barely make a dent, managing to cross off just one small task. Then, as night falls and you're supposed to wind down, a sudden burst of energy hits, and your best ideas start flowing. It's frustrating, isn't it? But here's the thing, this isn't about your willpower or discipline, it's about understanding your energy. You're not a machine that can operate at the same level all day long. Trying to force productivity when your energy is low is like trying to push open a door that only swings the other way. It's exhausting, and it doesn't work. The real key to transforming your day and your life is learning to identify your energy peaks and using them wisely. Think about it. Why waste your best hours on mundane tasks like checking emails or scrolling through social media when you could use that time to focus on what truly matters? Neuroscientist Andrew Huberman explains that our performance is closely tied to our circadian rhythms, or body's natural energy cycles. But here's the catch. Not everyone's rhythm is the same. Some people hit their peak energy early in the morning, feeling refreshed and ready to tackle the world as the sun rises. Others are night owls, struggling to get moving in the morning but bursting with creativity and focus as the evening sets in. Do you know which type of person you are? That's the first step. If you're a morning person, guard those early hours and use them for tasks that require deep focus, creativity, or problem solving. If you're a night owl, respect your rhythm and save your most important work for the evening, when your energy naturally peaks. Once you've identified your energy highs and lows, the next step is prioritization. Reserve your peak hours for your most demanding and meaningful work, whether it's writing, strategizing, or creating. Save lighter, less demanding tasks, like organizing files or responding to emails, for when your energy dips. And here's something that might surprise you. Rest is just as important as work when it comes to optimizing your energy. If you try to push through exhaustion, you'll only end up frustrated and unproductive. Instead, take short breaks, stand up, stretch, or take a quick walk. Even a 5-minute pause can recharge your mind and help you make the most of your next working session. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Do every act as if it were the last act of your life." This isn't about rushing or cramming more into your day, it's about being fully present and intentional with your time. When you align your tasks with your energy, you're not just working harder, you're working smarter. So, let me ask you this. What would your life look like if you stopped fighting against your natural rhythms and started working with them? How much more could you achieve if you stopped trying to push that door at the wrong time? The difference is transformative. Starting today, take control of your energy. Identify your peaks, prioritize your tasks, and don't forget to rest. When you move with your energy instead of against it, you'll find that everything flows more smoothly and results come effortlessly. The time to start is now. Your most productive, aligned self is waiting. 5. Practice gratitude. Let me share a story with you about someone like all of us, Juan. A few months ago, Juan felt like his life was spinning out of control. He was stressed at work, constantly arguing with his kids at home, and stuck in a loop of dissatisfaction. One day, a friend suggested something simple, almost too simple. Start each morning by writing down 3 things he was grateful for. At first, Juan brushed it off. Grateful? For what? His problems felt too big, and the idea seemed pointless. but his friend wouldn't let it go, so Juan finally gave it a try. That first morning, he scribbled down one thing: "I'm grateful for my health." It didn't feel groundbreaking, but something subtle shifted. That same day, he noticed small things he hadn't paid attention to before: a kind word from a coworker, the beauty of the sunset as he left the office. Gratitude didn't magically solve his problems, but it gave him something even better: a new way to see the world. What happened to Juan isn't unique. There's real science behind it. Research from the University of California shows that practicing gratitude increases happiness and reduces stress. And it doesn't require grand gestures or hours of effort. Just a few minutes a day can rewire your brain to focus on what you have instead of what you lack. This isn't about pretending your problems don't exist. It's about shifting your perspective. Marcus Aurelius captured this perfectly when he wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." Gratitude isn't just a fleeting emotion, it's a habit. And like any habit, it grows stronger the more you practice it. Now, I know what you might be thinking. My life is too chaotic for this. I don't have time to sit and write gratitude lists. But here's the truth. It doesn't take much time at all. Just 5 minutes a day can start making a difference. Start simple. Tomorrow morning, as soon as you wake up, think of one thing you're grateful for. Maybe it's the warmth of your bed, the first sip of coffee, or the chance to try again today. Say it out loud. Then, at the end of the day, take 1 minute to reflect on what went well. Small things like a kind smile from a stranger or a moment of laughter with a friend. Write down 2 things you're grateful for before going to bed. Yes, it might feel awkward at first, but stick with it. Gratitude grows when you nurture it, and soon you'll start noticing the positive even in the busiest, hardest days. The beauty of gratitude is that it doesn't erase your challenges, but it gives you the strength and clarity to face them differently. From the very first day, you'll feel your mind shift from dwelling on what's missing to appreciating what's already there. Life is full of small blessings we overlook, and when you start paying attention to them, everything changes. So let me ask you, what's one thing you're grateful for today? It doesn't have to be big, just real. Share it, write it down, or even say it to yourself. Because when gratitude becomes a habit, you free yourself from the constant chase for more and start finding joy in what you already have. And that change, it can start right now. 6. Turn challenges into opportunities. Have you ever felt like life threw something at you that you just couldn't handle? Maybe it was a failed relationship, a job loss, or a plan that fell apart. Your first instinct might have been to resist, to fight against what was happening, or to complain as though that could somehow change the situation. But here's the truth. Challenges aren't here to break you, they're here to shape you. They're like stern teachers who show up uninvited, pointing out your fears, mistakes, and weaknesses. At first, they make you uncomfortable, even angry. But if you listen closely, you'll realize they're not enemies, they're guides. Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher, once said, "A man should not fear adversity, for it is through adversity that he discovers what he is capable of." And he was right. Challenges are the very things that force you to grow, to build discipline, patience, and strength. Without them, you'd never know what you're truly capable of. Let me share a modern story. A friend of mine was drowning in credit card debt. For years, she avoided looking at her bank statements, convincing herself that ignoring the problem would make it go away. But it didn't, it only grew worse. One day, She decided to face the challenge head-on. She sat down, opened her accounts, and wrote down every single expense. It was painful to see the numbers, but it was also empowering. That was her first step. She cancelled unnecessary subscriptions, created a budget, and started paying off her smallest debts first. It wasn't an overnight fix, but every small step gave her a sense of control and progress. A challenge that once felt insurmountable became the very thing that taught her financial discipline and self-control. Today, she's debt-free and more confident than ever. That challenge didn't destroy her, it transformed her. Now, think about your own life. What's one challenge you've been avoiding? It doesn't have to be something massive. It could be as simple as resolving a conflict with a friend or tackling a task you've been procrastinating on. Take a moment to ask yourself, what lesson is this challenge trying to teach me? If it's a conflict, perhaps it's teaching you to communicate better or to let go of your ego. If it's a health issue, maybe it's showing you the importance of self-care and consistency. Once you identify the lesson, take a small but decisive step. If it's a financial issue, review your spending and cancel one unnecessary expense today. If it's a relationship issue, send a text to open the conversation. These small actions might not solve everything immediately, but they break the cycle of avoidance and put you back in control. The secret to growth is simple: face what you fear. Every time you confront a challenge, you train yourself to be stronger, more resilient, and more capable. You stop being someone who runs from problems and become someone who faces them with courage. Yes, it's uncomfortable at first, but each step forward builds your confidence and transforms your mindset. Challenges stop being roadblocks and start becoming opportunities for growth. So, let me ask you, what's one challenge you can face? Take that first step, however small, and see how it changes you. Because when you choose to turn challenges into allies, you don't just overcome them, you become better, stronger, and more prepared for whatever comes next. That's how you transform your life one challenge at a time. 7. Live Minimalist. Have you ever felt like your life is so crowded with stuff, commitments, and endless thoughts that you can barely breathe? You come home after a long day, drop your keys, hang up your coat, and find yourself staring at piles of clutter papers, unopened emails, a to-do list that seems to grow faster than you can manage. It's like being buried under sand. At first, it's just a thin layer beneath your feet, but before you know it, you're knee-deep, stuck, and overwhelmed. Every unnecessary object, every meaningless obligation, every nagging worry is another handful of sand burying you further, leaving no space to think, breathe, or just be. That feeling of being overloaded is a real barrier to your happiness and well-being. But here's the good news: it doesn't have to be this way. Living with less doesn't mean giving up what's important. It means creating space for what truly matters. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. To them, accumulating things was a distraction from what is real and meaningful. Imagine if Marcus Aurelius lived today with endless meetings, a cluttered home, and thousands of unread emails. He'd feel just as overwhelmed as we do. But as a true Stoic, what would he do? He'd focus on his purpose, his peace, and let go of anything unnecessary. That's exactly what I'm inviting you to do. Living minimally isn't about loss, it's about gain. When you remove the excess, you reclaim your time, energy, and mental clarity. You make room for joy, focus, and the things that truly matter. Let me share a modern story. Inspired by Fumio Sasaki, a Japanese minimalist who found peace through simplicity, I decided to simplify my own life. I started small, decluttering my home, getting rid of things I hadn't used in years. The result? I felt lighter, not just physically but mentally. It was as though clearing my space had cleared my mind. Sasaki's words stayed with me. When you have less, you value more. And he's right. When you strip away the unnecessary, you begin to cherish the time, calm, and focus you've gained. You might wonder, what's left to value if I don't have much? The answer is simple. Everything that truly matters: your relationships, your passions, your peace of mind. So, how do you start living with less? Begin with something tangible. Look at your closet stuffed with clothes you never wear. Don't overthink it, just start. Donate or toss out what no longer serves you. That small action, done today, can free you from a burden you didn't even know you were carrying. Next, consider your commitments. How often do you say yes to things that don't serve you? Ask yourself, what have I agreed to that isn't helping me move forward? Maybe it's a meeting that could have been an email, or a social event that drains your energy. Today, cut just one unnecessary commitment from your schedule. Finally, address your thoughts. How often do you find yourself worrying about things you can't control? Take 5 minutes today to breathe deeply or meditate. Just 5 minutes to anchor yourself in the present moment. It's a small effort, but it can create a ripple effect of calm throughout your day. At the end of the day, remember this: you're not defined by what you accumulate, you're defined by what you choose to keep. Every time you let go of something unnecessary, you take a step closer to a lighter, freer, and more intentional life. So, let me ask you, are you ready to take that step today? Because living with less doesn't take anything away from you, gives you back everything that truly matters. 8. Daily self-reflection. Let me share something personal, something I rarely talk about. There was a time in my life when I couldn't stand the person I saw in the mirror. I didn't like how I acted, how I looked, or how I spoke to myself. Every decision I made felt wrong, and instead of pausing to understand why, I just piled on guilt and frustration, moving forward on autopilot. It was like running in circles, exhausting myself without ever making progress. Then, one day, I tried something different. I started reflecting each night, not for hours, not with elaborate journaling, but with just 5 minutes of honesty. I'd ask myself 3 simple questions. What did I do well today? What didn't go as planned? And what can I do differently tomorrow? At first it felt strange, like I was awkwardly talking to someone who didn't care. But over time something shifted. I began to notice patterns. I saw that not everything I did was wrong, and some things were worth celebrating. Reflection helped me understand myself better, make more conscious decisions, and, most importantly, rebuild my relationship with myself. Daily reflection isn't about perfection or writing lengthy essays. It's about taking a few moments to check in with yourself. No filters, no excuses. It's a chance to pause and ask those 3 simple yet powerful questions. Even Marcus Aurelius, one of history's greatest thinkers, practiced this. Each night, he'd write what we now know as meditations, not to impress anyone, but to reflect on his actions and realign his thoughts. He treated it like tidying up his mind before bed, clearing space for a fresh start the next day. And it's not just ancient wisdom either. The Japanese concept of chowa, which means balance and harmony, emphasizes the importance of reflection in finding alignment between your actions and your values. Akemi Tanaka, an expert on chowa, explains that daily reflection is like adjusting the pieces of a puzzle. It helps you see how your emotions and actions fit into the bigger picture of your life. Think about it. If you never stop to reflect, how can you expect to grow or change? But let's be clear, this isn't a chore. This is your moment, your chance to connect with yourself and take control of your life. Start small. Tonight, grab a notebook, a piece of paper, or even your phone's notes app. Write down one thing you did well today. It could be as simple as completing a task or having a meaningful conversation. Acknowledge it, because recognizing your wins, no matter how small, is essential. Next, write one thing that didn't go as planned. Don't beat yourself up over it. Instead, ask yourself, why did it happen this way? What can I do differently tomorrow? The goal isn't to criticize yourself, but to find opportunities for growth. It's about learning, adjusting, and moving forward with clarity. Why does this matter? Because reflection is where you make peace with yourself. It's where you stop running on autopilot and start steering your life in the direction you want to go. When you understand yourself, you make better decisions, and better decisions lead to a better life. So, let me ask you, what's one thing you did well today? Start there, because once you take that first step, you'll realize how powerful it is to pause, reflect, and realign. This simple habit can change everything, one day at a time. And that change can start right now. 9. Build goals that matter. Let's face it, most goals people set aren't even their own. They're borrowed from what society tells them they should want. Earn more money, because that's the measure of success. Get the perfect body, because happiness must look a certain way. Buy more things to feel validated. But here's the hard truth. Hollow goals like these won't fulfill you. They might look good on the surface, but they lack the depth to truly transform your life. Think of it like building a house. Decorating it with beautiful paint, flowers, and lights might make it look amazing from the outside, but if the foundation is weak, the first storm will bring it all crashing down. The same goes for your goals. Chasing external validation without a strong foundation of purpose will leave you feeling empty, no matter how much you achieve. That's why your goals need to matter to you. They should help you grow into the person you want to be, not just show the world what you've accomplished. A Stoic would say that goals aren't about proving something to others, they're about building something within yourself. Virtues like discipline, balance, and purpose are far more valuable than any external success. Seneca captured this perfectly when he said, "If you don't know to which port you're sailing, no wind will be favorable." So, ask yourself, how do you want to approach your goals? Do you want to drift aimlessly, setting goals that don't truly resonate with you? Or do you want to act with clarity and purpose, knowing exactly what you're building and why? When you act with intention, your goals don't just lead to achievements, they lead to transformation. If you're tired of wasting time on meaningless goals, it's time to get SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This method isn't just clever, it's life-changing. Start with specific. Vague goals like, "I want to get in shape," won't cut it. What does in shape even mean? Running a marathon? Climbing stairs without gasping for air? Be clear. I will train 3 days a week for 30 minutes. A specific goal gives you direction and focus. Next, make it measurable. Progress is motivating, but how can you track it if you don't measure it? Instead of saying, "I'll save more money," decide, "I'll save $100 a month by cutting 2 unnecessary expenses." When you can see your progress, you stay motivated. Then comes achievable. Be realistic. If you haven't read a book in years, don't aim to read 20 in a month. Start small. I'll read 10 pages every night before bed. Small, consistent steps lead to big changes. The fourth step is relevant. This is where you dig deep and ask yourself, why do I want this? Don't set goals to impress others. Set goals that align with your values and build something meaningful within you. For example, don't exercise just to look good. Do it because you want to be healthy, disciplined, and strong. When your goals are aligned with your values, you'll find the strength to keep going, even when it gets tough. Finally, make your goals time-bound. Without a deadline, you'll keep putting them off. Don't say, I'll do it someday. Say, I'll start tomorrow, or this month, I'll save $100. Deadlines create urgency, and urgency creates action. When I started applying the SMART method, I realized it wasn't just about checking things off a list. It was about becoming more intentional, more disciplined, and ultimately stronger. And that's the real power of meaningful goals. They don't just change what you achieve, they change who you are. So, what's one goal that truly matters to you? Write it down. Be specific. Make it measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Then, take that first step today. And if you're ready to share, tell us what goal you're setting. We'd love to support you on your journey to becoming the best version of yourself. 10. Find a mentor. Have you ever felt like you're navigating life blindfolded, unsure of where to go or how to get there? Maybe you're trying to advance in your career, improve yourself, or build something meaningful, but you don't know where to begin. Here's a question for you. Why struggle alone when others have already walked the same path and can show you the way? Let me tell you about Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all time. Before he became the Oracle of Omaha, Buffett was just like many of you, ambitious but lacking direction. That's when he met Benjamin Graham, his mentor, who didn't just teach him about investing but completely transformed his perspective. Graham showed him how to avoid emotional decisions, focus on sound principles, and think long-term. Those lessons didn't just help Buffett succeed, they shaped the foundation of his entire career. And here's the point. Without Graham's guidance, Buffett might never have become the man we know today. That's the power of a mentor. They don't just teach you skills, they help you see the world differently. Think about Marcus Aurelius, the wise Roman emperor. Do you think he became the admired philosopher and leader he was without guidance? Not a chance. His mentor, Junius Rusticus, was the one who taught him the value of discipline, introspection, and self-control. In Meditations, Marcus Aurelius openly credits Rusticus for helping him resist the pull of ego and embrace philosophy as a way of life. A good mentor doesn't just hand you answers, they challenge you, guide you, and open your eyes to things you can't yet see. They tell you what you need to hear, not just what you want to hear, and that's what makes their influence so transformative. So, how do you find a mentor? Don't worry, it doesn't require chasing after a celebrity or scheduling an impossible meeting. Start by identifying the area in your life where you need guidance. Is it your career, personal development, or health? Be honest with yourself and get specific about what you want to improve. Next, look for someone who's already where you want to be. They don't have to be famous or even someone you know personally. It could be a writer whose work inspires you, an expert you follow online, or someone in your network who's achieved what you're striving for. Observe their actions, study their mistakes, and learn from the way they think. And, if you're lucky enough to connect with them directly, ask thoughtful questions, and, most importantly, apply what they teach you. A mentor's guidance is only as powerful as your willingness to act on it. From my own experience, I can tell you that finding a mentor doesn't just accelerate your growth, it saves you years of trial and error. A mentor is like a flashlight in the dark. They won't carry you to your destination, but they'll light the way so you can find your own path. The journey is still yours to walk, but with their guidance, you'll move faster, stumble less, and waste less time on unnecessary detours. Can you think of anything more valuable than that? So, let me ask you, who is someone you admire? Someone whose experience could help you grow? Start there. Reach out, observe, learn, and take that first step. Because with the right mentor, you're not just setting goals, you're transforming your life. 11. Leave a mark on others. Take a moment to think about this. When your time here is over, what will truly remain of you? Not the things you owned or the titles you held, but the impact you had on the lives of others. How have your actions uplifted someone? What will people remember about you? Each of us is like a thread in the grand tapestry of society, and when one thread doesn't fulfill its role, the entire fabric weakens. Marcus Aurelius once said, "What does not benefit the hive does not benefit the bee." Think about that for a moment. When you contribute to the greater good, you strengthen not only the world around you but also yourself. Living with the intention of leaving a positive mark doesn't just help others, it transforms you. It fills that emptiness you might feel, gives you purpose, and connects you to what truly matters. Let me share a story that beautifully illustrates this. Muhammad Yunus, a young economist, saw a devastating problem in his community. Millions of people were stuck in poverty because no one would lend them even small amounts of money to start a business or survive a tough time. Instead of complaining about the broken system, Yunus created a new one. He began lending small sums to poor women in Bangladesh, an idea many ridiculed. But Yunus believed in the power of community and the human will to improve. He was right. Those small loans didn't just help individuals, they transformed entire communities and eventually millions of lives. And in helping others, Yunus found his life's purpose. His story is proof that when you live for something bigger than yourself, you grow too. Now you might wonder, how can you start leaving your mark? It doesn't require grand gestures or a Nobel Prize. It starts with small, meaningful actions you can take today. Think about your unique talents and how you can share them. Can you cook? Teach someone a recipe. Are you a good listener? Give your time to someone who needs it. Do you have a passion or skill? Inspire others with it. Leaving a mark isn't about money or fame, it's about intention and action. Even the smallest acts of kindness, like helping a colleague, offering advice, or simply listening, can create ripples far beyond what you imagine. Here's something to remember. The world doesn't need perfect heroes. It needs people who do what they can, where they are, with what they have. One small action from you could be the light someone else desperately needs. So, let me ask you, what can you do today to leave your mark? Don't wait for tomorrow, because even the smallest sincere action doesn't just change someone else's life, it changes yours too. Every step you take toward helping others is a step closer to the best version of yourself. Transforming your life doesn't take years. It starts with one conscious, courageous decision made today. What will yours be? As we've seen in this video, true change happens when you take that first step, no matter how small, and commit to acting today. Remember, small steps lead to big changes, and the power to transform your life begins the moment you decide to move forward. So, here's a challenge for you. Write in the comments, "Today I start transforming my life," and let me know you're ready to take action. Don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Echoes US, hit the notification bell, and give this video a like so you'll never miss the wisdom and inspiration we share. Also, check out the playlist on the screen. It's full of ideas and stories to help you grow and succeed. Let's keep this journey going together. Until next time, take care, and remember to embrace your inner Stoic every single day.